good afternoon, good evening viewers, or depending on where you are. For today I thought I should do a very short video on trading financial instrument using AI. For the financial instrument I chose gold because of what has been happening in the last few months. It has been doing very well. For the AI I chose deep reinforcement learning agent. So what is deep reinforcement learning? It's a combination between neural networks and reinforcement learning. The former tries to replicate how our human brain works using artificial neural networks, while the latter uses a reward mechanism to guide an agent based on the actions that are supposed to be taken. So for those deep reinforcement learning agents, because I chose deep Q networks and Proximal Policy Optimization. So there are two very common algorithms within that field. I'll put on some links and maybe some pictures just to give further details on them. But then in terms of going deeper into them, maybe we can do a separate video for that. So to start, I started by downloading some data using some Python libraries and APIs. So in this case, we were getting the data from Yahoo Finance. Again, the nitty-gritties of this is something that we can do in a separate video. Then from that we were able to get the data. So the data was converted to a CSV file, as you can see it here. You can see it comes all the way from May until 27th of October. So I'm recording this video on 30th of October, so 3 days ago or 2 days ago, give or take. So the idea is to use part of this data to develop a reinforcement learning environment where the agents are trained on. Then part of the other data can be used to see whether the agents are taking the right actions. Okay. Now, something that is different from reinforcement learning as compared to other forms of machine learning is that there is no supervisor. So we are not supervising, we are not using a supervisor. Instead, we are using the reward. Again, that is something we can discuss in a separate video. So from there, we were able to define the environment as well as the trading itself. Again, a bit of a detailed script. But then what is really important is that all the agents started with a starting balance of $10,000. Now also, for the sake of having a baseline, we also implemented a buy and hold, so that at least we can also compare the results with if someone had bought gold maybe 2 months ago and then held, what is the difference between that and having these reinforcement learning agents. So per the results, just a quick pick of the results, we can see that the buy and hold was good, for the last 30 or so days. It was rising until a point where maybe it dipped in the last few days, but then it's still bullish. Okay, so it's still okay. You'd still be having money within your portfolio. Portfolio value would not be less, as compared to what you did by buying $10,000 worth of it. But then for our agents, the same also happened, but then at some point it dipped. 15 days ago it dipped. Now part of this could do with the fact that maybe our agents are not well trained. So in essence, what they are doing is memorizing. They memorized the environment. They didn't learn, they memorized, which is not something that we tend to like in machine learning and AI in general. This can also be validated by the fact that if you look here, the returns versus the episodes, it hasn't stabilized. It's still very erratic. And maybe just a final view over here, we can also see that the distribution of the number of sells compared to the number of buys. So both agents, that is DQN and PPO, the ones that I mentioned before, they had equal number of sells, but then the number of buys were more for the DQN. And then here is the buy and hold action per defined within the script itself. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. We'll try and do a separate video on something else. Thank you for watching.